Welcome to Raise the Bar, edition number 1, live here at the lab from Austin. I'm with Dekel Bar, hence the name. We're also at the bar, just puns on puns. But yeah, we're here to talk about all things pro pickleball, a little bit of business with pickleball, and throw in some juicy tidbits around instruction, training, and how pro players are where they are. This week, we're going to be talking about our week in pickleball, coming off of Salt Lake City MLP, what Dekel's been up to here in Austin on some of his time home. And then we'll get into some special segments with some friends of the program. We'll have Andrea Koop from Beer City and MLP Premier, longtime veteran. And we'll also have a special guest here live with us. So let's get into it, Dekel.
All right, awesome. First of all, whoever doesn't know Ryan here, Ryan DeWeegen, am I saying the last name right? Probably not.
But that's okay. We'll get that at episode 4.
All right. How do you say your last name?
DeWeegen.
DeWeegen.
Rhymes with pigeon.
So what did I say?
DeWeegen.
Okay.
You made me look like a shrimpy little man, but it's okay.
Ryan's a 3'5" player and bald, as you can see. And I thought he would be a great co-host, so here we are.
Yeah, it's been on my dream list to partner with a former top 10,000 tennis pro, and now maybe 164th men's doubles pro. So it's been good.
Wow.
He has a lot to share with us.
Thanks, Ryan. Thank you. In all seriousness, Ryan is the co-owner of the lab. As you can see here, this is the court where most of the pros in Austin train, including myself. And he's also the GM of the Texas Rangers, who just had a great weekend.
Big weekend. Good weekend, big weekend. So hopefully we can do it again soon.
Hopefully not in KC, because you guys are playing us. So have an okay weekend.
You're playing us. Okay, so this week in Pickle, obviously you weren't there. You were being a little bit lazy staying home. But I was at MLP. We were in Salt Lake, north of Salt Lake. People call it the Burbs, but it truly was. It was very pleasant, but kind of 30 minutes north of the airport in downtown. But a lot of teams there on the Premier side, a few on the Challenger side. It was the second, I think, indoor MLP. The first one would have been Columbus.
Yeah.
This one was at the Pickler. Shout out to Big Pickle and Pickler, but George and team are amazing. But I think it would be it is, but it's a great amateur membership place for folks to play open play and league and get court time. I think they did a pretty good job of modifying it for the purposes of 4 practice courts and a grandstand, a championship with some TV production. So I'd say it's probably pretty good for MLP overall. But in terms of, we're going to break this up into roses and thorns. Roses, obviously a little bit complimentary, positive takeaways. I think the first one is, and this is on the heels of DC MLP, but MLP is like an exciting product. Yeah. And whether you're a pro pickleball fan or you're a fan of one of the players or you're a fan of the team, it's fun to watch. And I think it evangelizes people in understanding that pro consistency and athleticism and speed is there, obviously seeing that in person, but 2, just point for point, game to game. If there's reasonable matchups, there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what it was made for, right? Yeah. Like the whole scoring system and everything, it was all made to entertain. The Dream Breaker, everything about it, just being loud, the players being louder, the crowd being close to you and loud, everything was meant to be entertaining. So,
it's like the opposite of a museum. It's like a real, no, but sometimes tours, whether it's tennis or pickle, can kind of feel like, it's like paid actors doing these like elaborate moves and we just quietly do it. But MLP is if you can
encourage loudness.
Yeah, for sure. And it was booming there almost to where like after end of 3 or 4 days, we were like, get us out of here. Cause it was, a cacophony of noise. And shout out to DJ Chris Carson? No,
which
shout out to the DJ who's used by MLP that lives in Austin, and I should know this name, but he's very good. But anyways, it's a bumping crowd, and I think it's exciting to be. This one was unique. Utah certainly seemed to have like a home court advantage, which we haven't seen at many MLPs.
I think in DC we definitely felt that. Like our team, DC definitely felt like the crowd was behind us. We had the advantage. We might not have performed our best in that particular one, but definitely the crowd definitely pushed us, and I think it helped us.
Yeah, there's like an inherent
a lot of fun.
Momentum and energy. In Utah, they had some close matches. but they certainly had a lot of people at their back, and that was felt whether you're just a fan or competing against them. Second thing on the roads is shout out to the Hard Eights. I think they won all 3 of their matches. Very few challenger teams present there, but they showed up well, and they seem to be firing on all cylinders. Selfishly, gonna go give a rose to the Ranchers. We went 5-1.
Yeah, I think you guys had the most points during the weekend, right?
A lot of points. We had to check our bags because we didn't have enough room for the points coming back.
What was it? 16 out of like 18 points that you could have gotten.
Yeah,
I mean that's amazing.
No, it was good.
I mean,
they
that's
played
the best. Is that the best
Hall.
Yeah, so far in MLP.
Maybe the Flash at DC. They won a lot.
They did, yeah. We beat the Flash in DC in a Dream Breaker. So I think they played less matches. I think that might have been their only loss, but yeah, they played really well there.
But our Dream Breaker loss came to the Fives. Who would have guessed? But that was a close one. That was 22-20. But anyways, yeah, the team played well, and I think we've shown we're one of the strongest, well-rounded teams that don't really need a particular thing to go well. Like, we're not hoping and praying just one game is a winner for us, or that we go to Dream Breaker. I put DC in the Flash in that category. Yeah. But a lot of pickle. I mean, we played 6, so it's 2 a day for 3 days.
6 is a lot. 6 is a lot. It's just not. It's not just the matches, like
the practice.
Yeah, it's the practice before. Yeah. It's the warm up. The warm up is longer, in general, than we do in our regular PPAs. Yeah. You have to start at 100%. Like, you have to start fully ready. If you start 90%, you lose the first few points, and it's rally scoring. It goes by fast. So you prepare more for every match, and it's a lot mentally too. Just like the whole day. It's not just the games you yourself are playing. You're in it for the whole, like, however 2.5 hours of the whole meeting, and if you have 2 each day, plus before and after stuff, 3 days in a row, that's a lot.
Yeah, I think 6 is probably the most anyone should be given. On our 3rd day, we actually only had like a 45-minute turnaround from one match to another, which isn't as bad as some people have had, but it was like, okay, this is a real test. And then I think for the players themselves, as well as some of the teams that organize this, if you're watching film of teams that are playing, from the previous night or that morning, like, that just adds into the all-in day. And I think I've learned from now 5 MLPs on the coach GM side that, like, I'll never play pickleball. I won't work out. And it's whether you have 1 match or 3 matches, like, it's a full day affair.
Yeah.
Like, DC, we had 1 match one day, but as we were there early to watch the other team, watch some friends play, perform, scout the next day. It was
then maybe practice later. If you only had 1 match, you need a few more reps.
It's all consuming.
It's a full day.
It's like literally all consuming.
Team dinners, like there's just a lot going on.
I mean, that's a first world problem, but we don't go to the fancy steakhouses that DC does.
DC takes care of us.
Well, one last thorn is Blaine Havenier is a gamer. Like, I think he racked up 7 or 8 really quality game wins. I mean, any game win in Premier is no joke, but doing that 8 times over in a weekend is no fluke. And so shout out to him. I think we were watching him take down J-Dub and Augie with Hunter. Then he went on to win his mix. Flash lost that 0-4, but Blaine beat the Rancher guys, Kwong and Christian. So
was that the surprise of the weekend? The 0-4 against the Flash.
Yeah, Flash going 0-4 to the Mad Drops, who again are kind of like in the mid pack right now competing, but them going 0-4 is
especially early in that event, like. Because
maybe it's like a late day thing.
Blaine is coming instead of Thomas. Big shoes to fill. So you don't know how that team will do. And then they beat 4-0, the Flash, like the number 1 seed at the moment. So I don't know. That for me that was a big surprise. But then later they backed it up. So maybe later in the week it's not that surprising. They had that big of a win. But first day of the weekend, I thought it was.
Yeah, definitely proved that it wasn't a fluke.
Right.
And I think the Flash kind of made Blaine's rest of the year when it comes to partnership inquiries and stuff. They're like, wow, I think he's probably getting hit up by a lot of kind of mid-pros who are like, yeah, this guy can make balls and he can do so under pressure. So, shout out to him.
Who else were the top teams that performed well? So the Flash,
Ranchers,
Shock, and the Fives were the top few teams in Premier?
Yeah, Columbus had some good fights, but came up short. Drive a little underwhelming in terms of their end game results. I know they had some.
Yeah, they started very well with 6 points out of 6
Yeah.
the first day, and then didn't do as well the rest of the days.
Yeah, I still think they're figuring it out. Andre's back though in full force, but yeah, shocker a little interesting. Like I don't think they're as complete as they would like or that we would have thought. I think they.
What do you think is their weakness?
Mixed. Well, their women's has dropped some matches in some unexpected ways, and then
The women started very strong.
Yeah.
The first event and also the second event. I think they only had 1 loss in the second event.
trust me, we have faced fierce Anna. We
Yeah.
have fierce when Anna is popping off. We have definitely been on the receiving end. I think their second mixed team, Gabe and Kate, aren't doing nearly as well as they
Right.
should, talent-wise and I think camaraderie-wise. But they're similar to the fives, where like if they're on, they're super on, and if they're fine or a little off that day, like they need some things to go right for them. But otherwise, it was just a gauntlet for everybody. Like I think everyone's pretty tapped out, but it's not going to stop us from going out to KC next week.
Yeah, in a few days.
Yeah. Real quick, I know we're running over time, but Thorns, indoor conditions, I think were one at elevation. The ball was moving. The court was fast. The ball was moving. Like everyone had to get adjusted for a good day, but not the biggest challenge. But I think lighting was a bit tough at times. And court sizing, it was a little snug. I did the walk around when I first got there. I was like, oh man, like they should have given the athletes 2 or 3 feet on the baseline and the sideline. But you can't nail it all. But it was definitely mindful for folks who like to serve big. Will Howells, Dekel, Kwong, Christian.
Like Ben was ripping the serve hard.
Yeah, everyone was just kind of going for it. In some of the games, the points would be extremely short. It'd be like crash and bash, rip 2 drives. In other games, it was kind of wild, like how much kitchen play there was. It was very...
Really? Because you would think with the added altitude, it
Yeah.
would be faster in general, not that much kitchen play.
Yeah, I think people are just drive dropping and then
Yeah.
getting in against evenly matched teams. If you thought someone couldn't handle the pace, then
Is it harder to attack because the ball flies more, so you're like scared? That's why the kitchen rallies were longer once you're there?
I think you were like excited to be there and you didn't want to blow it.
Like, we're finally here, so let's
Yeah.
hang out here for a bit.
No, but I mean, certainly our men's team likes to drive and sometimes drive a little too much, but ultimately, ultimately there are a lot of the women's matches were like elongated kitchen points.
Okay.
Mixed was much more hectic. And then men's, it depended on team. J-Dub and Augie will take 4 shots to get into the kitchen and then, slow play you. But others, Hunter and Blaine versus Christian and Kwong was just like a bazooka fest.
Just ripping everything.
Yeah. So that's Roses and Thorns from Salt Lake, Layton. How's your week? How's your week of pickle?
Good. So I've been home now for a couple of weeks, which is rare. We've been on the road this year a lot. It's been fun. It's been also tiring. So I've been very happy being here for a couple of weeks. Training, I took a couple of days off after Grand Rapids, and then started to train. Also, my family recently moved to Austin, so I've been
big.
Very exciting and very fun. So I've been seeing them a bunch. So it's been great being here. Then after a couple of days, back to work, back to training, kind of like mid-season training, playing a lot here at the lab. I basically kind of live here at the lab.
You did cheat on us today, but
I did. So the last couple of days played outside. It's very, very different playing indoors and outdoors, as everybody knows. Especially here in Austin, it's hot, humid, and want to get used to the conditions in KC. I looked up the weather, and it shows like 99 degrees on one of the days and 100 degrees. And anyway, hot. Gonna be a hot week. So need to get used to the outdoor conditions. But otherwise, I've been the first 7-10 days here at the lab every day, using the ball machine, training with this guy. Even though he's a 3.5, he's a pretty good
ball machine
hitting partner.
Yeah.
Hitting. Ryan is actually, what would you consider so? A semi-pro?
Semi-pro.
Semi-pro.
The only humble man in America.
He did play 3 main draws, PPAs, out of 3 tries.
No. We don't need
No?
to get...
No?
Yeah.
No?
We're
Okay.
going to build the resume. We're going to build it later.
So yeah, that's been what I've been up to. Training, doing more off-court stuff as well. It's a time that you can do a little bit more weights, some running, just basically get in better shape for the rest of the season. When you have a couple weeks, it's just the best time to do it. So been ramping that up.
August looks a little bit like April in terms of like being a gauntlet.
Every weekend. I think I'm skipping one of them. I'll need to look at my schedule, but I'm skipping KC PPA.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, so I'm doing the
Wow.
MLP and then I'm going back home, so I have a weekend off. But then for me, there's a lot like August, September, October, November. It's busy for sure. So enjoyed the time at home. The last few days, I had Vivian Glozman came here and we started training for MLP for KC in a few days. It's starting, so got to get ready.
Yeah.
How
How many games or how many matches in KC for you guys?
We only have 3 matches in KC.
Yeah, this is where MLP scheduling is a little funky. We've probably played 70% of our regular season 24 matches.
How many matches do you play already?
We played in every event so
15?
far, and we played a decent number of,
I think I looked it up. I think you had somewhere around 15 matches.
15 or 16. Yeah, so we're like 65, 70% of the way through.
And you're
versus-
in a good position, obviously, after this
But
weekend.
we're in a solid position. But, the fives are like, I think I've had 8 matches. It's like
And
very...
we only had 9.
Yeah, it's very...
And we have 3 in the next one, so it's not like we're catching up that much.
That's why I thought you were going to have a lot more.
No, New York, we have our next 2 are New York and Miami, and there we have 5 and 6 or something like that.
Ooh, fancy. Coastal elite cities. That's where MLP scheduling has been. It's felt, we joked, there's 2 things on this note. One is it's kind of felt like ChatGPT. Yeah, there is some logic behind the scheduling for sure. But it felt like a ChatGPT like spit out a proposal and we're just running with it, even though everyone feels some quirks or oddities to it. Like even, and again, not saying that it's us, but like even what teams on Grandstand or Championship, we had 6 matches.
It's not even.
6 matches. We had 5 on Grandstand.
Really? Wow, I didn't know.
And more importantly, for the product side of production or streaming, it's like we were playing the 5s. We were playing.
It's tough. So it's great matches.
Yeah, we were playing the Shock. Like those are energetic, exciting matches. And it's like we joked we were Grandstand grinders. Like we made that our home. So there's some funky stuff like that that everyone's kind of dealing with.
Sometimes there's back-to-back matches. Feels like that shouldn't really be a thing.
Yeah. So that's where it's like, the last 20% of details isn't ironed out. Like
I'm
after
sure they'll get there.
After KC, we have 2 months. 2 months off.
2 months, yeah.
The second thing, MLP related, real quick. I just forgot. It was so good, Dekel.
Was it?
It was so good.
I will come back to you. Maybe.
Okay. It was so good. It was so good. We'll get into it next. But anyway, so you're in Kansas City. You're not doing the PPA.
No.
I'll be there for a week because I'll play in qualifiers with shout out to Yuta. And then I'll be commentating on Championship Court for the tour. So
All right, nice.
a long week in sunny Kansas. Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, it's going to be hot.
Do you know the airport? I had to triple check so I didn't fly to the wrong place. MCI.
Yes.
Have you booked your flight?
I did. Now that's
I was scared.
Rings a
I
bell.
thought I was going to make it complete.
Why? What?
Well, because there's like Kansas City. There's like,
Because it's
It's
in
in
both,
Mis-
in
yeah,
both
yeah,
states.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's stupid. American history.
My next PPA is Bristol, Tennessee. I think that's the weekend after KC, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And I'm playing there with Hayden Patrick-Quinn.
Boom.
And of course, Tina Pisnik. First time with Hayden, so that'll be exciting. He's playing really well right now, and Tina's always playing really well. Just crushed it with the Ranchers a couple weekends in a row. So
Yeah. No, Tina's ultimate ball maker.
yeah,
Ultimate ball maker. Verbal DM to Dekel. Have you and Hayden sorted out? Or actually, do Do you want
No.
to surprise people?
Where,
Like-
like what side we
Yeah.
each play? I think we'll surprise ourselves. No, we don't. I haven't talked to Hayden about that yet. Who plays what side? I think we're both comfortable on both. I'm coming from playing a couple MLPs, so in MLP I'm playing on the right with James. So maybe that'll be the play. I don't know. We'll talk to Hayden and we'll see.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We'll surprise everybody.
Okay.
Maybe we'll play straight up or just stack both ways. If we're serving, we'll
Yeah.
stack me on the right. If we're returning, we'll stack me on the left.
There we go.
And then we'll switch it mid game.
Mental tricks there. Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we should proceed into our next segment.
All right. So yeah, so as I mentioned, Vivian Glozman's been here for a few days training for MLP, and we have her here in our fabulous studio court. Vivian.
Truly live.
Okay, so we can set up. What's this?
That's your mic.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love that.
There you go. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
How many times? How many times have you been to Austin besides coming here for PPAs?
Like, I've actually never played a PPA here.
You never?
3 times.
And how long have you been here? How long have you been to Dekel and training?
4 days.
I
got here on Friday.
Okay, that's good. 4 days. How many more days are you here for? I don't even know.
We'll leave in a couple days to Casey.
Oh, so you're doing like a week. You guys better fucking get results.
That's the plan.
Yeah,
That's the plan.
Have you guys watched footage yet, like live together of previous matches or no?
No.
Or is it all like in the head of like, oh, I think this is working or not working?
It's all in here.
So he's teaching you how to slide?
Yeah.
Seat knew it. What a great coach question.
I taught Ryan how to slide first.
Yeah, it's still not working, but I know I need to do it. I'm recently a right-sider, so.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
I just want
yeah.
Ryan to get off the court when we're playing together. So just slide. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it. So you guys haven't watched any film,
No.
but that's okay. DC doesn't watch any film, but Josh Gartman does. That guy watches a lot of
Josh
pickleball.
watches everything.
And
Do you ever
Kyle.
geek out with him? Do you ever like?
A little bit.
non-MLP
Not
times?
that much yet. No.
You should. He
Yeah.
watches more tape than. Well, I'd like to say I'm in the like tape
Yeah.
elite tape watchers, but he watches a lot.
Yeah.
And he watches it live, which is kind of fun. So you can like,
Oh, okay.
he can riff with you
Cool.
as stuff happens.
So I would say I do watch a lot of film. We
Yes.
didn't watch stuff together, but I watched. Watched
Yeah.
this weekend, but just in general, before we play any team, honestly, I watch the film, and it just kind of it helps knowing, just seeing the patterns of the games, or just the shots that your opponents are hitting, just kind of so you don't see it first time when you're playing against them.
For sure.
Obviously, finding weaknesses and strengths, so to know what to avoid. But yeah.
Yeah. I remember you were talking about one Premier player last week, and you were like, yeah, I know every time where he's going with his forehand, where
Right.
like whether it's just a directional dink or a speed up, but yeah, I guess this world is so small. It's sometimes where it's like,
Yeah, we played,
unless people really change and invest in not doing what they've done, you're kind of like, well, once I invest in understanding the playbook a little bit, then
Yeah.
unless they change it, then well, I
right,
know-
and if they
I know
change
what
it,
they're
you
gonna do.
adapt and try to remember that.
So speaking of change, you've played in Premier before. Shout out to the drive. You beat Columbus when I was there in Atlanta. That was good.
True.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
didn't make that connection.
You didn't hit any serves out in singles, so that in our dream breaker.
Thanks for bringing that up.
No laugh, but no, you should do it. Like risk
No, yeah,
adjusted, you
yeah.
should do it. It's in the budget.
sure.
But anyway, so you played Premier. You played quite a few PPA events. You have great pro training partners like Dekel. He's 167th in the world. You played on the right a lot. How come it's taken you so long to like learn how to slide or know that you need to slide? And I say that like genuinely open because I'm like that, whether it's Vivian David or like some of the gals or Colin, it's like, the right sider, the good right sider slide. What's been the hiccup there?
Well, I just recently became a right side girl, so I don't know if I knew that, but I also like my forehand. So I think for the longest time I was just sitting forehand, and I didn't know I was supposed to go this way and hit backhand.
That's interesting. And now, well, something that Dekel and I have been working on as I step 1 week into this right side role, right side Ryan, is will you sit forehand if you think you're going to be like attacked out of the air so that you can like scorpion pancake, or is it more like you're just going to default to
Wait, say it
backhand?
again?
Like Dekel will like get down low
Yeah.
and like sit forehand a little bit when he thinks someone's going to attack him out of the air
Right.
from heads up
Right,
because
like
it's easier.
we played with Zane today, so like when I was flicking from the air against him, he was,
Right, he gets
trying to
down in there.
scorpion instead
Versus
of
if it's off
sliding to the right, hitting a backhand.
Right, but if it's just normal kitchen play or if it's an off the bounce, like that's typically where you're going to slide a little bit more. We'll get into that next week.
Wait, are you asking me something?
Yeah.
Wait, what's the question? Are you?
You like
understanding it?
sitting forehand.
Yeah.
Will you
Yeah.
sit forehand
Yeah.
more? Like, will you still
No,
remain?
I'm trying to not do that as much because I don't bend my knees, so it doesn't work out.
Got it.
You have to get low when you sit forehand, but
It's too much effort.
right. So I have to slide more.
I mean, Dekel may have one of the best knee bends of all players. Never mind 6'4",
3, but thank you.
6'3", with
The
your hair.
celebrations.
Yeah.
What?
The celebrations.
Do you like his celebrations?
No. Because after we win a point, I'll go for a paddle tap, and I have to wait for him to.
Right. He's pandering to the audience.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, hello, this is awkward for me.
He does
I
have
actually had that a lot with Tyson. Like when his celebrations, and I'm like waiting for it to power up. Now I just start going away.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but
start
I
doing
like
that.
it though.
It's like
fun.
the football owner who like is in the box like
Yeah.
trying to get a high five, but everybody else is
Yeah.
turned away, and he's like, yeah. He does have slightly, I wouldn't say selfish, but they're very much like main character celebrations, which is fine. It's well earned.
It's mostly an MLP. I would say 90% of my celebrations are in MLP, maybe even more. It just
Yeah.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
brings
No, it's good.
something out of you, just more energy to the team. There's more like banter with the opponents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of celebrations, though, and he knows this, but Blaine, right side demon, loves to get himself hyped up, and he brings good energy
Oh,
on
I think
court.
I saw this.
But-
This.
Yeah, but he'll like hop and like as he goes back to the baseline, he's like right here, right now. But it was like 1-1. It's like I guess that's like I think
Right now,
I
2-1.
think
Yeah.
they got into the kitchen. We like missed the dink, and then he was like right here, right now.
Aw,
And I was
for
like,
him.
yeah, it was like props. Rock
Whatever,
it. If it's
whatever
genuine-
works for you. No, seriously.
Yeah, if
Whatever
it's-
brings you energy, gets you focused.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Do you have any on-court celebrations or like post-point energy? No. That's
I usually get nervous, so I just walk back to the baseline, and I'm just shy like that.
Do you think it will come out someday? Like, do you have it with like? Is there something within you
I
that
think
you
I've
think?
seen it.
Yeah, Dekel said he's
I've
seen
seen
it.
it.
I actually think when
It's
it comes
rare.
out, it's like because I'm angry, which is not a good thing. So if you see that, it's probably because I'm mad and you don't want to see that side.
Yeah, like instead of a celebration, just like smiling and like kind of like look shocked that we won the point.
Oh my gosh, I'm always shocked. I'm always every time Dekel hits a good shot, I'm always shocked. Not because
Thank you,
he's
thank
no
you.
wait, that sounded
No,
bad.
no.
Yeah, no.
Faith,
Anytime,
faith.
anytime he makes like a good decision, or like he goes for an Ernie that like is a put away Ernie instead of like a tap back Ernie.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised.
Right.
That's good. What were you like in college tennis? Because I've started to watch some like women's and men's college tennis to try to appreciate it a little bit more. It certainly like has its own
Oh,
dynamic.
Yeah.
But like, what were you? Were you like a?
No,
No.
I've always been quiet. But I actually I actually don't even remember. I blocked that period of time out, to be honest.
That's another pattern. Almost all the tennis players never.
Block
I
it
couldn't
off.
talk to anyone about Wimbledon. Like none of the
Nobody was
none of the
watching?
pros. No, they're like, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
It's like a dark chapter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like somewhat like the loser people in tech would say like recovering lawyer in their like Twitter bio or something. It's like, okay, we get it. Yeah, but like, I feel like everyone's a recovering tennis player.
Yeah.
But doesn't anyone really want to acknowledge they play tennis unless it's like a Dave Fleming intro or
Right.
something.
Right.
But you were just quiet. You weren't in the.
Yeah.
Did you have like a team environment that was like really rowdy?
I actually think of all the college teams, ours was pretty mild.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's just instilled from our coaches. Our coaches were just nice people, and we just let the racket do the talking.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to give a shout out to our teammate Rachel Rohrbacher, because every time our team played South Carolina, they were, I don't know what I can say on this.
You can say whatever.
They were very bitchy. They
Wow.
were. They were. But that was their team culture. And
So wait, you're shouting out Rachel?
Like,
I
so a
wanna-
bad shout out? Or is it-
No.
Are you
Good
bringing
shout
to
out.
Are you bringing
She
to
brought
attention there was bitchy behavior?
I don't remember playing her specifically,
Oh,
but
now all the details.
but I don't know anything.
Yeah.
No, but South Carolina, like, they're known for that.
Got it.
And I love that for her. She brought that to Pickle.
Yeah, no, she's...
And I love being on court
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a good yin-yang kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and I don't play with her on the team. We're on the same team, so I always hear her cheering. And I watch the matches back, and it's like every point you see Rachel just like
Yeah.
screaming and like just like happy, bouncing, or like just encouraging. She's very into it, and it's very helpful. Like
Yeah.
I feel like we do a good job pumping each other up and just kind of making each other get in that zone, that energetic
Yeah.
zone, and just like the fighting mode. So it's been very helpful.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've always been around pretty quiet MLP. Like Christian roars.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Q will Kwong will do this.
And then you
but
have Tina and Etta.
Tina and I were like
Just
pipsqueaks.
nothing.
And then with Columbus, it was J-Dub, Colin,
Oh yeah.
Maggie, Megan.
No
it
way,
was
yeah.
it was the most quiet. I was like,
but you were the
yelling
loudest. Like, so your teams are loud because of you.
a little bit because of our fans. We actually
Yeah.
shout out Etta's family and friends in
Nice.
from Utah, American Fork, Salt Lake, whatever. She's from American Fork, which is cool.
That's a city?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's
every-
like south suburbs or something.
Every point, like I'm watching the Ranchers play and win, like I hear you first.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I
I
mean-
think it's great. No, I think honestly,
I'm
I think
in
it's,
it.
especially
Well, Carolyn too. Carolyn is
Yeah.
like Carolyn and Alex.
especially with your team that like if Etta and Tina are playing, like
they're just silent killers. They'll dice you up 4 points in a row, and then they're just going back to the baseline.
Yeah.
And like there was like a fist clinch that I saw from Etta, and I was like, oh, it's
that's
game
huge.
over.
That's-
I was like,
that's huge.
It was like 21-18, and she fist clinched, and I was like, like we're going to 25.
Oh,
boom.
I saw Etta posted today her like back and overhead.
That's her
smashes.
signature shot.
Like on one, that's really good, but two, I'm like, yeah, go Etta, like talking, hyping herself up, and
Yeah.
like I love it.
Yeah, she has she jokes. Actually, we were at dinner with her at like Texas Roadhouse. Shout out Texas Roadhouse, but not a sponsor yet. But we were there, and I joked like that's her shot. Like every MLP, she's hit like 1 or 2 clean winners off of this like lob retrieval,
yeah.
and she's like, I think I'm maybe just like too lazy to go back and like scoop it and drop and play out the point.
Would
She's
do
just like
anything
boom.
to, yeah.
And she's like, it's sick. But how would you rate James's on-court celebrate, like post-point energy or celebration? Ignatovich.
Does he have that? Wait, no,
Yeah,
we were
sometimes.
talking.
Yeah.
I think it depends.
He says
Some
Jimmy to
points-
himself sometimes.
He does talk to himself.
Yeah, he's like,
He does.
Jimmy, Jimmy.
Yeah.
My favorite is let's go Jim.
Let's go, Jim. And then he like walks to the bench, eyes you guys, like
Yeah.
picks up the towel.
That's so true. Well,
Yeah.
something I noticed was if Dekel hits a good shot, he will fist pump to the crowd and like not acknowledge Dekel. Do you notice that?
If Dekel hits a good shot,
If his partner hits Rachel
Yeah.
Dekel, he will fist bump like he did something and then not give his partner any acknowledgement. I noticed that. He will just walk back to the baseline.
So sometimes it's even like in the end of matches, I'm like
Yes,
going to
yes.
fist bump James, and he's just like, I think he's just so, and like he just walks away, goes to his towel, like I'm like, all right, he's just
so
so
funny.
like he's so in it, and he's just
Yeah.
like, all right, we
That's
want
awesome.
next, like, and later like we talk and like he says nice things, or he said Dekel, you were really bad, or whatever whatever
Yeah.
he should say. But no, during the match he's very within himself.
Yeah.
So sometimes he will acknowledge you. Sometimes he's just too within himself and not.
yeah.
But no, he's very energetic. Honestly, I love playing with James. It's great energy. And yeah, no, I love his celebrations or his stare downs to the crowd or to the fans. It's great. Like I think on the previous tournament, he hit like that sick winner like in singles, like
Yeah.
when he was reaching, and then he just like stared deep into our owner's eyes and just like for like a good few seconds. It was hilarious.
He's like, you got me for 3 years, Al. I mean, James's definition of like being in the zone or his own zone.
Yeah.
Like the team may be in his zone, but like he may be in like the side bubble zone.
Yeah.
Okay, I ask everyone this. This is our first episode, but I do ask this offline. But coming from tennis, you obviously have great baseline strokes and movement, footwork, and obviously it's like helped you. But like, what in that conversion? What are some of the things you've had to be like mindful about or change? Have you had to like shorten your stroke on the base on like drives? Have you had to like swing more up? Like, what's anything pickle specific that you think?
Something I have trouble with is when someone lobs me. Don't take notes though. When somebody lobs me, I have that like first initial like step forward, and that's never been a problem in tennis, obviously. And I go back and I hit my overhead. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that's most tennis players or most players in general, even not tennis players. It's kind of like just natural to
Push off.
Yeah, to push up,
okay.
get like your foot forward so you can push up backwards better.
But that hurts me because my overhead's like, I like self-proclaim it as my best shot, but now I'm like always called for
Foot faults.
And I need
You
to
and
relearn that.
Hayden's pretty bad
really?
at that. Watch out for your tour event.
Oh, okay. Nobody lob Hayden.
Okay.
I guess shortening, you have to be a little bit more compact in pickle.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really an issue for me. I don't think.
I mean, it's not an issue for your teammate Rachel.
I haven't seen
No.
it.
I feel like she may have elongated it.
Wait, I think
It's crazy.
so. Yeah.
Like her, it's like on the women's side, it's like her, and then on the men's side, it's like Chris Hayworth. Like they, like it's like the loopiest.
Yes.
Like on both sides, or even like when Rachel's like doing cross court dinking, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, her touch may be a 12 out of 10 because the like movement into like finessing a ball that's like
It's not very compact.
no, but I'm saying like for her to handle it, similar to Mari,
exactly.
like non-traditional,
Yeah.
you're like can't do that by the book. But I'm like, well, it's kind of working
Right.
way more often than not. So like you've kind of finessed this.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you have like the
Yeah.
the Georgia dink. She's making all of them now. Like, and it's different
Yeah.
type of technique, a little bit more going on. But if it works, it works.
Yeah. What's one shot on your wish list? If you woke up tomorrow and then you had a drill session with Dekel and you were busting something out, what would that be?
Anything where I can bag him. Like maybe like a Gabe like little deception shot.
Okay.
Because every
That
time
never
I
worked for Gabe though.
no, every time I try to speed something up, I end up getting bagged myself.
Yes, that's fun.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, welcome to training with Dekel. I mean, when he was playing with this, and I wasn't quite acclimated to his flicky, wristy 2-inch power. I was wearing glasses for 2 months. Like our first 2 months of like very real drilling, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like I don't want to lose an eye
Right.
off of a stupid speed up of mine.
Yeah.
So anything you do to bag them, but like there's got to be. Do you have such length? Do you think you use your length?
No.
So like 0 out of 10 right now, like how much, like how well do you think you use your length?
5.6.
Who on the women's side do you think, that's not bad, but who on the women's side do you think uses their length well?
Ooh. Etta? I think she's pretty long. Maybe Jessie?
When she's on
Yeah.
the line, I would say yes.
Yeah, her
she's either
forehand.
like off the line.
Yeah. She has
but
good
when she
reach.
goes to the line, yeah, she does.
Yeah, it's tough.
Lucy?
Yeah. She
Yeah.
has a good reach.
But I'm just naming tall people now, so
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, yeah.
Well, I think Viv David,
Yeah.
for being so small, she reaches out a lot.
Yeah.
Mental reach, big
Yeah.
mental
Yeah,
reach.
she really hugs the line and
Yeah,
uses the reach.
yeah.
A lot of
Lacey,
attacks
we
from the
like
air.
to joke. She says she's 6'5", even though she's maybe 5'4" on a good day.
I think she's
long.
mentally 6 foot for sure.
Yeah.
She has actually. Zane was just talking about her like reach in roll where she actually like gives it a bit of action. Like she'll hit the outside of the ball and like zip it, kind of like cross court, and it's not just a normal like cut volley. She plays long, like her reach in, her like super wristy reach in. Mari plays long on the backhand side.
Yeah.
like when you watch in like slow motion or you pause, like she's like similar to Ben, like fully extended, like bent at the hips, like arm out, like. Where do you think you would use your length more? Like, do you want the
definitely
aspirational backhand flick that many of the gals like say they have, but they don't necessarily use right now?
Yes, we were actually just working on my backhand flick like yesterday.
More yesterday.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get that. I'm also trying to do more Ernies to use my length, I guess.
Speaking of Ernie's, Zoe Wang, sorry. It's an emotional experience. But she was in the lab a few months ago playing, and I think she Ernied Pete and I like 4 times.
Really?
Like she was from both sides, like effortless. You just don't register, if you have to like reset dink, like this woman's gonna do this. And like she's
so
very athletic.
effortless
She moves
with everything.
I think she's like the next
smooth.
Etta.
She's
super smooth.
Yeah.
Super smooth. But in terms of the backhand flick, what style is it going to be? Like this roll? Is it like the J-dub kind of like flick punch, or is it just, do you know? Which is just
Dekel,
I
help
would
me,
Coach
say
please.
Dekel.
Please.
I would say it's closer to the J-dub.
okay. Well, there are meaningful differences.
Not like Ben, it's more wristy.
Yeah.
J-dub is like just more compact in this way. Yeah.
Got it.
You also have to keep in mind like our wrist strength. It's not good.
True.
It's not good at all.
For sure.
So I feel like a lot of girls, like it looks a little awkward just because I feel like you have to do more to get the same amount of power. Maybe I don't know, but I actually bought
a wrist trainer
a wrist trainer.
from James Inspired, or no?
No, Dekel told me.
Oh, really? You've been holding out on me.
Well, look at your freaking arms.
I mean,
You don't need anything. You have like the strongest wrist I've seen.
Okay, well, that will be our first Amazon affiliate link in the description below for a wrist trainer.
Yeah.
But I thought it's a little bit more forearm, like J-Dubs isn't. It certainly has some wrists, but there's more of like a
There's some, but
forearm
like,
lifting motion.
So it's it comes from your forearm as well, but a lot of wrist.
It helps. It helps.
Yeah,
have
it
that
helps.
last
Yeah,
finishing,
it's all. It kind of all works together, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Like when I
But the
work
thing
on my
is-
wrists, like
Yeah.
so I have the wrist strength, whatever, and then I also have
Mid-season wrist development. Yeah.
yes, and I have another piece of equipment I use for the forearms. So I kind of use it as wrist, but the forearms come
Big
with it.
elbow
Yeah,
down
It's a
guy.
big. It's a
Big
big
elbow.
wrist.
Yeah.
Yes. So if it
Okay.
hits my arm right here, I can say it hit my wrist now.
What's
on
that? Yeah.
on a ball, yeah.
Yeah. But just to make it super specific, so you want this flick, and it doesn't need to be a winner. You just want to get it back so you can crush it with your two-hander, potentially, right? Like you
Yeah,
don't need,
like a setup shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Actually,
like a
this-
J-dub is like a laser beam.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
one or two even come close to. But in terms of like you can just hit them awkwardly.
Yeah.
And then you-
I actually find the 1-2 punch way more satisfying.
Yeah,
It's-
for sure.
Because they think they're like, oh, I got it back.
Yeah,
You didn't
yeah.
deceive me, and then
And
you're like,
no.
"Mm."
Yeah. On the two-handed backhand side, for the ladies, who's got the most power in like a static position? Like if you had to have, like if there was like a chest high ball to put away, who you betting on? Like this person's gonna put it away.
Annalie.
Annalie, yeah,
I would say Viv. David.
yeah. I don't know. Seeing Annalie in person,
Yeah, no.
for the first time in a while is like, she kind of feels like a video game character. Like, no, she feel like the attributes are just like the movement, the speed, the power. It's
Yeah.
like she was handling like Christian and Kwong drives like nothing. It was like,
So
give me the pace. Like I will match you back. Like she's just on it.
Now with the sliding, it's gonna be Viv Glozman.
There we
So
go.
You'll see in a couple days in MLP.
Right.
There we go. If we see a flick, that will blow my brain. But the sliding I expect to see. But if we see a
told
flick,
him anything really, like he's
I
just
know.
he's just trying to get
know.
information.
yeah, this is
to
just an
her.
elaborate
Yeah.
ruse.
It's like watch out for the Ernies, lob her, like all that is now in the plan. Smart,
Yeah.
smart.
I'm helping you play the long game of your future tour opponents being like, oh, we have to account for more, when she's across the net from us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you just said you were a right side, now you're a right side girl.
Yeah.
is this a DC pickleball context, or like on tour stuff, like you're only gonna try to find a left sider to partner with?
Well, I had a mini hiatus, and then I came back and had a bunch set up with Lacey, and she's good on the left. So I said, I'll take the hit. I'll be the right side girl. And honestly, it works out. So I started playing right with her. And then when I practiced with Rachel for the first time, like during Beer City,
Yeah.
we tried both. We actually were playing Etta and Tina, but we
Oh, cool.
tried out both, and we were way better with her on the left. So
Awesome.
we stuck with it.
Well,
But I like it over there. I love it.
There's also a little less of like it's an unfair at times, but there's also less of a stereotype or connotation for being like a right side woman or girl.
yeah, I feel like in guys, it's a little bit.
Guys,
more,
it's like, I've been humbled. Or
I would
like,
say it's less now. It's
Yeah.
less now. Like you
yes,
have like,
but a year or 2 years ago, it was
very,
like,
oh, you're right side.
beta.
Yeah, beta,
Yeah.
exactly. They call it the beta every single time. It's you're playing beta. You're playing beta. It's not anymore. So it's like
yeah. Dylan
you
hugging
have-
middle and
yeah,
having like
you have Dylan, you have-
forehand off the bouncer out of the air.
Yeah.
He's him and Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe,
are-
and you have Matt, who's very aggressive. You have others like Hayden when he played the right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm decently aggressive on the right. I would say I can do both
I agree.
sometimes. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to play the right, not just the defensive
sure.
way. Well, Viv, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so
We got a
honored.
couple more days of training. Then off to KC.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks for being our first guest.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. As we highlighted in the early introduction, we're here with Andrea Koop. We're going to be spending some time with her talking all things Beer City and MLP. But welcome, Andrea.
Thanks, guys. Excited to be with you. Your first guest, right?
So second.
Second guest. Come on.
Second. First episode, but yes, we had Vivian Glozman here in studio in the beginning of the episode, yes.
Love it.
Two lovely ladies to kick off episode 1. We are blessed.
Very.
We're blessed. But speaking of blessed, I was blessed to have experienced Beer City for the first time a few weeks ago with the Ranchers going up to MLP. How many times have you gone to Beer City?
I think that was my second time, but my third time there. We've had this APP exhibition a while ago there, so I don't know what that was called, if it was a part of Beer City in any way. Probably not, just in that venue. So second Beer City. It's always been during the summer when I'm either in Israel, like I was still in Israel, or just visiting Israel. It was or in a pickleball getaway in the summer. So the timing was tough sometimes.
Yeah. What I mean, obviously, having started in 2017, you've been there every year. But what other pro has been there every year since? Is there anyone that matches your attendance?
No, we started in 2018 actually, and we didn't have it in 2020. So the first year Dekel came, the APP did like a little exhibition in 2020, but the actual tournament was canceled because of COVID pandemic. I don't think tournament started back up until maybe August or September that year.
Right. Yeah.
But I think Irina has been to maybe 5 out of the 7, and that might be she might have the biggest streak, if you will.
Okay.
Zane? What about?
Zane might be 5 out of 7 too, now that I think about it. But nobody has, I mean, other than me, I guess, has been at all of them.
Nice. I mean, just the things that came to we had a very subjective experience in terms of MLP team, not necessarily playing an amateur, but it's a cozy environment. There's great food vendors. Whether it's your staff or Northern Michigan summer, the people are very friendly, very thoughtful. It felt very communal. I thought both courts for MLP kind of Grandstand Championship were set up very well. And you are now going to be credited for showing like what high frame rate instant replay really is all about.
Close call. Yeah.
Coming September 1st. So props to having the budget and the kind of the guts to implement that. with Kyle and team. But those are my impressions. It very much reminds me of like the men's summer kind of lacrosse that I play in Lake Placid, where kind of 5,000 people of all age ranges converge to play competitively for 3 or 4 days, and it's just
Yeah.
good weather, good people, good vibes, and well run. They've done it for 25 years. But anything else stand out
Yeah,
to you
no.
in terms of
So
a
it's
beer
my
city?
second Beer City full experience, and twice it was, very well run. Always, we know everything will get taken care of, from hotel, water, whatever you need. Everything is always running like it should, and we have somebody to talk to if we need any help. And I know it like. Also, I hear from like we also obviously play on the pro side, so we don't really know what's going on the amateur side. But the big thing I think is just all the amateurs. It sounds like all the amateurs are happy every year, and everybody is super excited for the tournament. Everybody is lining to sign up. So I think that speaks the most
Yeah,
about
net promoter score probably like an 80, up there with Apple.
it. Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's credit to my team. Paul Richards, my co-director, and I'm going to be honest, he does all the real work. He recruits a great team around us of 200 plus volunteers. I think we had 900 volunteer spots to fill.
Wow.
When we filled like
Wow.
85% of them. He has probably, I think, 50 or so what he calls volunteer captains, and these are people who are in charge of certain volunteer categories, and they meet probably 4 or 5 times a year to go over their responsibilities. How are they doing recruiting volunteers? Then after the event, we have like suggestions and how can we be better? Everybody commenting, and Paul takes them very seriously. And then some of them are kind of funny, and we are like, oh yeah, sure, we would love to have showers and such right on site. That would be great, guys. Good idea. But some of them, we
Do we
take
have
the hard.
AC on the outside courts as well? I was getting kind of hot.
Exactly. Yeah. Those some of those, we're just like, oh, that's a good idea. But some are really good suggestions, and they help us get better every year. And I mean, it's important. And Paul takes really good care to read everything and go over the big ones that he thinks that can help us, because every year we're looking to improve. And the other thing that I think is great about it is we're like that perfect sized town in that we're not so big like maybe in Austin or Chicago or Los Angeles, but and we're not like tiny like Podunkville or sorry, but Kaysville, Utah from last week. And so
Wow.
we're big enough, but the whole town gets behind it. Like everyone's so excited. It's Beer City Week, and all the Uber drivers know about it. There's signs in the airport when you come in. Then local news is out and about it, and like the whole town, everyone's just excited. It's Beer City Week, whether it's the people playing the tournament, the locals in the like who know about it, even people who don't play pickleball, they know about it. And we have large community support from the local sports commission, the city of Grand Rapids, and all the hotels involved. And I think that's because we're just the right size town for that. Whereas like a bigger city, Austin, Chicago, they have other things going on, and they don't need to maybe waste their time with a pickleball event. Not yet, hopefully someday, but I think that's kind of how it is, and that's why it's part of it. It's part of why we get so much support. And then Paul's amazing at what he does.
Yeah, I mean, it feels fully baked. It feels like you step into like a different context and community where everyone's kind of like on the same page.
Yeah, usually like when we get to a town and they ask me, "What are you in town for?" and you're like, "Pickleball." They're like, "Oh, is there a big tournament going on? Like, what's going on?" And here, where when we say pickleball in Grand Rapids, they're like, "Oh, Beer City Open. That's awesome." So it's very different. They know about the tournament, and you can feel the crowd is very into their pickleball too, which is fun for us when we play.
Is
Yeah.
Paul a player, Andrea?
Yeah, Paul is 70 years old, and he plays in the 70 plus 4-5, sometimes 5-0 divisions. Paul's a baller.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, and he lives in Michigan, 6 and 6. He's got a place in Florida in the winter because he's smart, wants to avoid
Yeah.
those Florida winters. But this is this is his job. I bet he spends 10 hours a week on it, 50 weeks a year, and then more when we get about 6 weeks out. He's very meticulous, and it's his baby, and Beer City doesn't run without Paul Richards.
That's cool.
It's amazing.
Reasonably priced beer too is a nice little perk. Very easy to hand over a 5 and get a cold one around the courts. Is there anything that you can share from the recap of this year that you think is going to work its way into actionable kind of feedback or a change for next year? Is there any kind of thing that struck you as what you want to do for 2025?
I mean, we have to find out if we're going to get MLP back. We don't know yet if we will, but if we don't, we'll be the Beer City Open again, and we'll have, a pro event like we've had in the past with prize money. So we always have to wait and find out what's going to happen with PPA, MLP, or I guess now it's UPA. But I mean, feedback was all positive. I don't think there was anything negative that came out of it. So our fingers are crossed, and that's all I can say. I hope they come back, because for me, maybe I'm a little biased, but as a player, I thought it was the best MLP type event we've had. I've been to 3 now, and it was the best one of the year. And as far as venues and atmosphere go, even for PPA, I would put it in top 5. But again, I might be a little biased on that. But I think that the improvements we've made in Grand Rapids, it shows, and then all the community support around it. There's not a seat to be had in there, and it's fun as a player to play in an atmosphere like that.
For sure. It's fun for us on court, and honestly, it's fun for us off court too. When we're all staying at the plaza, and everybody's walking there in the lobby, so you see a lot of familiar faces. Lots of restaurant to go to in the hotel. Just outside the hotel, you're in a great location, and you're also 5 minutes away from the court, so it's very, very convenient, very fun. Just the whole week kind of feels like one big pickleball family. It just, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, as we think about coming back from Salt Lake and then going to KC, I'm like, man, if this was Beer City, I would do it every other week for like 20 weeks. So pleasant. And I think one of the things that stood out to me was like the hotel aspect, where there was like, besides Adam Stone yelling somewhat tipsy player introductions at
that was
11
amazing.
PM.
That was amazing.
He's pretty solid at it. But besides that, it was it just felt a lot like life, like socially. It didn't feel like as business of a trip. Like you could just hang out and everybody's there. And it was in contrast to Salt Lake when we scurried back to our little hotel. Someone scurried back to Airbnb. There was less just like mixing. And serendipity there, and that hotel was kind of like fosters so much great stuff. But yeah, it was really cool. I mean, the pro move was taking a Lime scooter from the hotel to the courts. If your Uber driver got confused,
half our team did that and half took an Uber.
Yeah,
I was the Uber part.
I did it a few times, but I never advised any one of the ranchers to do it, because I was like, I do not want to be the guy that says, this person's got a busted elbow because they're trying a Lime for the second time ever.
I feel like probably half the players were doing that though, and the other half were Ubering. A lot of some walk too. It's 9/10 of a mile, so I mean, depends on your warm up routine and how you like to do it. But I know some players would get their coffee and walk. I think Eric Lang got his coffee and walked a couple times. So
that's such a pro dad move, though.
I know for sure.
2 quick questions. One is, there were 2 practice courts really designated on site. Was there a real tension between you, Paul, and others for that being 1 or 3 or 4? Like, how did it get settled to be 2? And that's not a ricochet complaint.
You may not know this. You may not know this about me, Ryan, but I'm the boss, so things get done, and 2 was the number. We had the courts at the hotel, so 2 was the number. We had 1,000 amateurs playing, and we could have had maybe 1,200 if we had those other 2 courts. And I knew it was important both for MLP, but as a player too, to have those courts. I think that could be something we do a little bit better next year, and that if MLP does come back, we might have to have whoever's in charge of the player liaison, make the practice schedule and not let teams sign up themselves, because that 90-minute block, maybe they signed up and then they signed up for another 90-minute block. And that was sort of the problem. And had that not happened, I think the practice courts would have been a little bit easier. But we got through it, and I know that I held amateur courts a few times, or told my team to like open up court 4 for an hour so that team X can warm up, because another team had warmed up for a long time. But we made it work. And hopefully we can figure that out for next year. But it's a good problem to have so many amateurs wanting to play your tournament that you're looking for extra practice courts. And then I guess the other thing that I would say is next time the PPA holds practice courts for us, let me know.
Wow, spicy. But it's well noted. The second quick question was, how stressful 0 to 10 is it being the woman in the pros so closely associated with Beer City while also trying to play? Like you're probably getting texts about practice courts, you're getting texts from volunteer captains. Like, is that is that a necessary evil, but ultimately something that does really weigh on you over the course of the week?
I mean, it's definitely both. I didn't have my best Beer City. This is probably the worst event I've had at Beer City, but in the past and even this year, it's all worth it. Like, I love bringing Beer City Open and great high-level pickleball to my local community. We're so passionate about pickleball in Grand Rapids, and to have, Dekel and Annalie and Ben and Zane and the ranchers playing, everybody playing, everybody. We had the top 100 pros in the world in Grand Rapids, and to us it was so special, and that I was a small part in helping make that happen. Any stress for me is worth it.
Yeah, big part for sure. Is pickleball like celebrated in Lansing or or Detroit nearly as much as Grand Rapids, or is it an anomaly in kind of like northern Michigan?
Well, we're not in northern Michigan. We're in western Michigan.
Western
But I would say West Michigan, as far as I know, has like the most outdoor courts. We have like 90 outdoor public courts within 30 square miles of each other in West Michigan.
Wow. It's like
Yeah.
Utah.
Yeah, we've got a lot. It's not really an issue to find a practice court or an outdoor public court in the summer in West Michigan. I would say that I go to Lansing maybe like once a month to practice, because there are players from the east side of the state that we meet in Lansing. It's the midpoint, and those courts are full as well. But they don't have as many courts, but maybe they don't have quite the demand that we have in West Michigan of the players. But it's certainly catching up. I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I would think that Michigan's got to be a top 10 pickleball sport by participation, behind the big five. But I think we're right up there.
Yeah. One last selfish question is, when we were playing inside on that first day, you could more intimately observe some, members of that facility or casual kind of like viewers just kind of like their jaws dropping at some of the scrimmages and some of the pace of play and spin. And, like, I think that court maybe feels a little big to them versus like people are bumping up against it. They're like with Ernie's and ATPs, like how many, what percentage of people at Beer City are like watching high level pro pickleball for the first time and getting like a real like awakening as to like what can happen on a
So
court?
I think a lot, but I also think that facility that we MLP played at on the first day, they are one of the few dedicated indoor facilities, and they're really innovative. They have local, I will call it like local money ball in the winter, maybe once a
Nice.
month, local money ball. And again, it's Michigan in the winter, so there's not much to do. They get people to get in there and watch, and they fill it. Like, it fills out. People get really excited to watch that. It's local high level pickleball. And I think that having MLP come to Grand Rapids, people are into pickleball, but they notice the difference. And there's definitely a big difference, I mean, between the local high level money ball and then the top players in the world. And maybe that's what they were noticing. But we are spoiled in that, places like, it's called All In Pickleball Club, do local money ball for us and give us something to do in the winter, and give our local players also a chance to compete for money and train their skills and get better.
Yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Dex,
No.
you should go scoop some money up.
and all in Pickleball, Moneyball. Sure, I'll ask for permission and I'll be there. When is it?
I,
Winner.
I don't
When,
know when they're starting it up, but yeah, probably like once a month starting in
what's the weather?
November.
What's the weather?
It's
10 and cloudy.
Is it under 50 degrees? I can't do under 50.
This guy's
outside, but it's indoors, Zach.
Okay. All right. If I'll think about it. I'll
There
see
you
if I
go.
can get a car and a good parking spot inside, so I don't need to step outside if it's cold or something.
That's right. That's right.
When is Padel gonna get to Michigan? I think there's an indoor one in Detroit.
Yeah, we don't have any in West Michigan. There's one court that I know of actually in Grand Rapids, but
Oh,
that's
really?
it.
Oh,
Yeah, there is one court.
we were wanting to play. We looked it up and we couldn't find anything.
Oh,
So
really? They actually
Yeah.
have one at, I think they have one at the other MVP, the MVP that doesn't have pickleball.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Have you played, or do you enjoy it? Or
I've never played. My sister Maggie's played, but I've never played.
wow. Okay, next MLP, we're gonna schedule a round robin for the beginners
We
and
have
then
to.
the self-described semi-pro Padel players.
I never said that.
So
Yeah,
are
I'm
you
a-
like,
I'm a good
are
win
you,
local twice.
are
Good
you
for
a,
O.
are you a
Probably
5-0,
for O.
5-0 Padel player, Dekel?
A what? A 5-0? I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah.
I guess I can hit hard, but I don't really know what I'm doing exactly.
Okay.
So I have a lot to learn.
Yeah,
To
he's
be
in
fair,
the like
to be
default
fair,
hit
that
ball.
sounds like a few 5-0 players I know.
Okay. Haven't been officially rated. I need. Do they have like a duper or whatever?
I don't know. New business
Yeah, I
venture.
think it's very like local club specific. It's very funky right now. But you just came back from Salt Lake. How many matches did you guys have for Columbus?
We had
5, 4,
6, but we had a day,
6?
but we had a day off, which
Oh,
was not ideal, because then you're just there in Kaysville, Utah, on a day off.
I mean, Kaysville has
Yeah.
just been getting rocked. It's like it's never it's never been talked about more, and it's never been critiqued more.
I'm happy.
Yeah,
we
I
didn't
mean,
play there then.
I think it was fine. The courtyard was fine. It was next to Panda Express, next to Target, next to Texas Roadhouse, next to Starbucks. I'm like, I mean,
I think we were right next to each other. I was at the townhouse right next to that courthouse,
yeah.
courtyard.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm like, of all the places you guys have had to travel and play tournaments, it's been 4 or 5 days, and I'm like, it was fine. I think
We've
I
had
gotta
some.
press
That's
We've had some.
so.
doozies.
That's the answer.
I
But
mean,
that's
it's no Daytona.
no. But that's the answer, Ryan. It was fine. It was fine.
That's fine. Well, much of I'll reserve my hot takes for later episodes, but Utah and Salt Lake, it's all fine in mid. It's all just fine.
It's all
It's
just
like-
fine. Exactly. It's fine.
It's all just fun. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah. I mean,
It's no
the skiing is
Grand
elite.
Rapids.
The skiing is elite, and the heat is elite in the summer, and everything else is fine.
It's fine.
And the people are pleasant. But where are you off to next, MLP wise? Are you doing KC? Do you guys do KC?
Yeah. So I got traded to Columbus, as you guys know, and Columbus is in KC. So I had to rework my lawyer job because my other team, Carolina, was not going to be in KC. And we play Saturday to Monday, but able to make it work. So I'm playing in KC with Columbus. Let's go.
Well,
All right,
we'll see you there.
We'll see you there in a
And are
few
you
days.
staying for the tour event? Or are you like
I'm
going
going-
out early?
I'm actually going home and then coming back for the tour event.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dedication.
She's got a real job.
Okay.
Do.
Well, hopefully we can find some fine plus food or Padel in Overland Park, and we'll see you there.
I don't know. It's very hot every day. I don't know if I'll be playing any padel there.
You only have one match a day. All the tennis players in you should be like, this is nothing. You got to be on for 45 minutes. You're on for 45 minutes, okay?
We have
Like-
two. We have two on Monday. We have one on
gonna play-
Saturday, 0 on Sunday.
We're gonna play Padel and have like saucy ribs. That's the plan.
Let's go.
So,
Sounds good.
but we're very excited, as Salt Lake indicated. We needed higher frame rate instant replay to make this sport modern and
For sure.
more insulated from critique. So we're very excited, and I think September 1st couldn't come fast enough. And it's funny that August is so packed with MLP tour events.
Yeah,
Uh,
and PPA. It's just a packed month with both PPA and MLP. But I mean, something is better than nothing, and I think that Kyle and Eddie, well, Mark, but goes by Eddie, did an amazing job at Beer City and showed off their skills. And I'm really happy for them that they're going to get to bring out close call full time, and I think it's great for the tour as well. It legitimizes the sport 100%, and also, I mean, even putting aside whether the replay was good or bad in Salt Lake, everybody can, has their opinion on that. It just took forever. Like the delays are so long, and close call. It was taking like 5-10 seconds, and they had the answer. It was immediate.
There's no going back. It was like there's no going back.
It's very it's very clear. It's up there on the screen for the refs, very fast. I was sitting a lot in the shade over there behind the screen, and just seeing like after a few seconds, it's just very clear to see. So
yeah, it's great. No, it's great, and not that obviously players still can do it with. You can still use like a challenge for a timeout. I know some players do that, but with close call, besides knowing the call is going to be correct, the timeout will be 10 seconds. So it's not going to be as efficient to just challenge a call because the team needs another timeout. They're not going to get as long of a break as well.
For sure. Yeah. Well, it wouldn't have been a pickle podcast without us talking about instant replay and line calls. So I'm glad you brought that up, Ryan. But anyway, thank you for joining Raise the Bar, Andrea, and we'll see you in a few short days.
You will. I think Columbus plays Texas, so see you there.
We play Texas too. We'll gang up on them.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you guys can do it for them. They need it. They're rusty. We played 70% of our matches.
We're fresh. You're tired.
I'd rather be well-oiled machine.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it.
Welcome to the Raise the Bar juicy tidbit for this week. We're going to be focusing on one drill that Dekel and I have been doing here at the lab quite a bit, and that's working the forehand speed up from the right side. You can do this off the bounce or out of the air. Big man over here has been trying to do it off the bounce a lot more. But basically, instead of being willy-nilly, having fun, playing rec, or doing just heads-up games, we're being very surgical and focused in this thing. So I'm going to be feeding him a neutral ball from the center of the court that pulls him back out to the right. It's a neutral ball that's not applying a lot of pressure. It's one that he wants to be able to take more advantage of with a speed up off the bounce. And he's going to be choosing any one of 3 spots. But the real goal here is to groove one spot. So that's going to be down the line for Dekel first. The second one is going to be at my body, seeing if I can handle that. And the third is kind of cross body. So pulling that ball towards the center and seeing if I can cover that in the hip. But again, this is like very surgical in the idea that it's going to feel lame, but we want really thoughtful touches on this ball to him so he can speed up and I can try to counter as best as possible, and we can play the point out from there. If we do get into a hands exchange, I usually don't go that deep with Big D over here, but let's show you how this works. So we start off with just one dink, and then I cut this back. That went out. So anyways, have a lot of balls ready. But again, it's a left side player, maybe in mixed or in men's. He's playing with his little friend and former yellow teammate, Anna. All right, let's do a normal dink.
Yeah.
Bring that back across a little too much. Oh,
just out.
Good job. Good job. Anyway, so we're doing this about 10 or 15 times for this one spot, or until I feel really good. Sorry. We won't even cut that because we're going to show we're human. I was out. But anyway, so we'll do this, and then we'll change it up to the next spot, which is going to be my body. So
nice. Oh. Bag.
Ow!
Yes.
One more of these.
That's why we're really here for. Hey. Oh, that was good.
No,
Ryan.
thank you.
That was good.
And then the third one before we start to mix in a little bit of serendipity, will be his cross court. We can just continue playing this one. Nice combo. But really here, I think, Dekel, what is your focus?
Yeah, so catch my breath 1 second. So yeah, for me, the main thing is just focusing on one spot. So at first I'm going down the line, really dialing that in. Each shot is a little bit different. And for me also, knowing where I'm hitting, I'm trying to create a combo here of the attack and also the next shot. So Ryan knowing where I'm hitting will create us more combos. Because Ryan will get the ball back more and I'll be able to work on my combo, which is honestly a big part of the attacks is just to create the second shot, not just to finish it with the first one.
As Vivian Glozman said earlier on the pod,
yes,
she loves the 1-2. It's almost more satisfying. So on the down the line, you're obviously trying to get this up and over 36-inch net. But what's the follow-up to that typically for you?
Right, so for me, I like to attack with the forehand and then wait again with the forehand for the next one. Because if my speed up is decent or better, then Ryan is most likely not going to be ahead of it. So it's unlikely he will get it towards my backhand. So maybe he'll get it towards my body, which I can still take with my forehand. Or he'll go usually down the line, especially if he's late on his backhand, and then I'm ready again with my forehand to finish the next shot. We can show you an example. So that was a great example of my second shot. Kidding, we'll do another. Like that. Obviously still work in progress. I don't play the right that much. That's why we're doing it. But yeah, that's really working on the second shot. A lot of us are just attacking the first one and we're surprised that the ball is coming back and then we're not ready for it. If I'm working on that combo and the likelihood of the area that is the ball will come back to, and I'm ready in that position with that shot, we'll win so many more points than if we're just guessing where it's going or if we're not used to that pattern.
And when you come middle to my body,
yes,
are you typically going to sit back in?
Yes, so if I'm going middle to your body or if I'm going across your body, I'm going to sit more backhand because you're most likely going to hit the ball to this area, especially it's going to be with your backhand. It's unlikely you'll hit it kind of inside out, and if you do, the ball is going to go out. So I am sitting backhand after that. I'm covering basically all the area or most of the area that the counter will come back to. If it's going this way, it's going out. Again, no reason to worry about it.
Yeah, I think this has been a refreshing and really focused drill for both of us. One, I've been trying to work on a two-handed counter that's a little bit more down and cross body, but it really helps. It helps groove a lot. I think some footwork, some anticipation, eventual hands, but more importantly, kind of creating a weapon out of the forehand off the bounce. So try this, give it a go. Let us know what you think if you have any modifications or variations. But this is something we've been doing every other day.
Yeah, for sure. And this is good for both people. Again, it's not just for the attacker. It's also for the person who's countering, learning how to counter from all different spots, and also trying to get the ball down. You don't have to feed it to your opponent, to your partner. You can work on your own specific stuff too. That's why you have a basket of balls, and you're doing this many times to get all the different types of reps. And as the attacker, I also want to be ready for balls that get a little bit lower. So everything my opponent gives me is good.
Yeah, just as he's focused on the combo and a follow-up with a forehand or backhand, I'm focused on following up my counter with another counter, knowing that even if I got it back hard or down, it's likely going to come back. So that's the juicy tidbit. Let's continue to raise the bar.
Thanks, guys.